So all of the NBA internet owes the Knicks an apology. They may win the Porzingis deal. There's some Knicks fans who would say they already have won the deal. Here's the gist. We remember it was Dennis Smith and 2 firsts for Porzingis, right? Now, if you want to look at it just specifically like that, then maybe this is a little different. But a big reason they made that move was for the cap space of not having to give Porzingis a deal, right? Well, what did they do with that cap space? They signed Julius Randle, who has been great this season, and they also signed Marcus Morris, who they then traded for a pick, and then they traded that pick and other picks, and they did like 4 trades within the span of a couple hours in the draft. The point being is, one of those picks ended up being Immanuel Quickley. And so now look at it like this. For Porzingis, they got Julius Randle, Immanuel Quickley, and the 2 firsts. One of those first-round picks that is currently a lottery pick because Dallas' season so far has been a little iffy. Well, suddenly, this trade that was looked at as massively one-sided, what is wrong with the Knicks? They're not going to sign any star players. Who cares if they have cap space? It's starting to look a little better. Especially because Porzingis' health is a question. I mean, Kevin O'Connor has said that Porzingis has had, 13 lower body injuries or whatever, and we know the trend about guys that are that tall. It's just tough for them to have long careers. Now, that's not a guarantee that that's going to happen with Porzingis, but how often have we seen him just not hampered with injuries at all? Maybe the last 20 games of the Mavericks season and maybe the bubble as well. But even then, we saw he eventually got hurt against the Clippers. And it wasn't some fluke injury, it was a meniscus tear, which, again, lower body injuries for a guy who's 7'3". It's not good stuff, and Dallas has locked themselves into Porzingis' contract for how long now? Until after the 2024 season. Maybe after 2023 if he declines his player option in 2024. We'll have to see what Porzingis' career looks like at that point, but the point is that it does not look super peachy right now when, at the time when that move was made, everyone, including me, was like, oh my god, this is a heist or whatever. Now if we could talk about this lottery pick. Potential lottery pick. It's not a guarantee that Dallas will not make the playoffs. They could at least get into the play-in tournament and all that, but it's going to be difficult, no doubt. I mean, just to get into the play-in, they're going to have to jump the Thunder, Kings, and Rockets. Of those 3 teams, I mean, the best bet would be the Thunder fall off, but, I mean, we're 20 games in now, they still haven't done it. And then after that, I mean, you're going to need the Warriors, the Spurs, the Blazers, Suns, Grizzlies. Like, one of these teams is going to have a tough stretch here. And, by the way, the Mavs are tied with the Pelicans right now. So, it's looking tough. And as the season goes, if Dallas doesn't figure it out very quickly, they did win this last game against Atlanta, the Knicks could be looking at least one lottery pick. I mean, even if the Mavericks do make the playoffs, the pick is probably going to be pretty good. So the Knicks could be getting a lottery pick, or they could be getting the 17th pick in the draft, or whatever it may be. And when you look at the Knicks pick, I mean, as of right now, they're in the play-in tournament, and we'll see if the Knicks get there. But there's a decent shot. The Knicks have 2 lottery picks this year, or 2 picks in the teens, and I mean, just compare that to the Mavericks being like, oh crap, we might have locked ourselves into a guy who can't stay healthy. And, of course, add on to that they signed Julius Randle with the cap space, and then they signed Morris, traded him for Quickley. I'm just saying, man, when you put this whole thing together, it starts to look pretty good for the Knicks. Now, with that said, there is one question I do have, and it's, what is Julius Randle's next contract going to look like? I mean, he's got a non-guaranteed option next year. I assume the Knicks will accept it. And then after that, I mean, given how good he's been, is he going to want like a $24, $25 million deal? Like at that point, I guess it'll just depend on what you feel about Julius Randle. Like then it might hurt the Knicks a little bit more just because he wouldn't be as much of a bargain. But even so, between Quickley and not having to deal with Porzingis' health stuff, if it ends up trending really badly for the Mavericks, I think the Knicks would still end up with the win. So really, it just comes down to now, is Porzingis going to be healthy? If he is, the Mavs, maybe they don't even win the trade. Maybe it just becomes a neutral trade. Like the Knicks have gotten too many good things out of the move for us to call them losers in that deal. Maybe it would just end up being a win-win for both sides. But the Knicks clearly have done way better with that trade than everybody thought they were going to. And I'm going to chalk this one up in the same category as I do the Paul George Oladipo Sabonis trade, where all of us think that we're the smart ones in the room, and then the front office proves that we still don't know what the hell we're talking about at the end of the day. But we're going to keep talking anyway, because it's what we do. So yeah, that's it.